So Kit, tell us what drew you to the study and the practice of law.
I've always had an interest in helping people, number one, and I also have always had an interest in puzzles and piecing things together, and those things are, they're both highly important aspects of practicing law, especially for what I do largely, real estate work. A lot of it is piecing things together, putting together a puzzle, and getting to a final product, figuring out a way to fix issues that may be affecting people in adverse ways. And by doing that, you get to help people with their problems, and it's all around. It was just a good fit for me.
Now, before we turned the cameras on, you said that you really enjoy title work, and some people might consider that to be a little mundane. What do you like about it?
I like, it's kind of opening a book into the past. I mean, really, that's exactly what it is. You're looking into how the property got to its current state, its current ownership, what has been on the property over the last 50 years, sometimes all the way back to sovereignty of Texas. It's fascinating to me to figure out, just know the story of this piece of property.
You've been elected director of the Tom Green County Bar Association and the Tom Green County Young Lawyers Association. Why is it important for you to be involved in those sort of ways with your profession?
In San Angelo especially, we are blessed with a legal community that is very eager, for the most part, to help one another. We're very tight-knit, and there's really no animosity between fellow attorneys in the area. And so I felt like it was my duty to give back as well I can, and help put together events, some community service projects, and things like that, just to keep the legal community that we have here as strong as it is.
Why do you think that's particularly important for young lawyers, that you guys sort of band together as newbies to the profession, if you will, and support and engage with one another?
Because we are all new at what we do. We're going through similar growing pains, and as we gain experience in our profession, it's good to bounce similar situations off of each other, find out how somebody has dealt with some kind of situation, what's going on, how to approach other types of situations, and there's kind of there's a good sense of camaraderie in that, and we can help each other out, because we, especially being young folks that are practicing law here, we are aware of the struggles and difficulties that each other are facing.
So that's interesting to me. Talk about a common growing pain that a young attorney may have.
We've got to attack things in certain procedural ways as attorneys. You've got to go through the right motions to get things done. Being new to the profession, sometimes you aren't just as seasoned and as familiar with the correct methods to do things, and even more specifically, the correct methods and desired methods that the local courts request of us. So it's good to be able to make sure that you're crossing all of your T's and dotting your I's as you practice.
You received the Legal Aid of Northwest Texas 2014 Rising Star Award for helping to hold landlord tenant clinics and assisting with other pro bono issues. For those who don't know, pro bono means legal work for free. Talk about your pro bono work and why you do that.
I do that. It's important, very important, that everyone receive legal assistance when they need it. That's very important to me. After all, that's why I got into the practice of law, to help people. Sometimes those who do not have the funds and the means to afford their own attorneys, thankfully there are groups like Legal Aid of Northwest Texas, for one, that is available to help them. Now, Legal Aid of Northwest Texas, they handle a variety of different cases. Some things may be more in my wheelhouse, some things may be more in a different attorney's wheelhouse, but for the things that I feel comfortable with and I have handled a lot of, I am more than happy to guide not only the attorneys over there as to, for instance, different probate procedures, different landlord-tenant issues, things like that, but when I was asked to speak at some landlord-tenant kind of community roundtable events, that was a way to directly give some knowledge to the public regarding the importance of knowing what your lease says, what your landlord's duties are, and that's why I did it, so that we can get that knowledge out there to those who may not have the means or ways to get it otherwise.
And you arrived in San Angelo with your new law degree with some experience when it came to landlord-tenant issues. Talk about those and maybe what a common issue among landlords and tenants tends to be.
I came here, I went to school at Texas Tech in Lubbock, and for the second and third years of law school, I clerked at Student Legal Services at Tech. Now, a large percent, most of what I did really was handling landlord-tenant relationships for Texas Tech students. And most of that would be, I'm representing the tenant, the student, against what they perceive are some violations of the lease by the landlord. Some of the common ones would be return of a security deposit after the lease is over, anticipatory repudiation of the lease, landlords trying to kick tenants out when they haven't really breached, and just protecting the rights of tenants who just may not be as cognizant of what their rights really are.
You also take on some child protective services cases at the request of the courts. Why do you do that?
I do that because, again, it's important for me that everyone get the legal representation that they are entitled to, whether it be the children in the case, who that's what the case is all about, is finding out the best interests of the child. But I also represent parents in child protective services cases, and they have rights too. They're entitled to representation, and when they need somebody in their corner fighting for them, I am glad to do it.
That's really sort of outside what you typically work on as an attorney. Is that good for you? I mean, do you feel like that also helps you professionally as well?
I believe that it does. It gets me more comfortable and familiar with the faces around the courthouse, the judges, and other attorneys in the area, and it's good always to have kind of a wide spectrum of things that you feel familiar with, and it's also good to step outside of your comfort zone a little bit from time to time. And I feel like taking these appointments from the court has broadened my knowledge and respect for the law and those that practice it.
Now, your boss nominated you for this honor, and she said, your CPS work, that you spent a lot of time going and visiting homes and learning about the children and their situations. What have you learned from that experience?
I have learned that there are a lot of people with completely different upbringings than I had here in San Angelo. And I was aware of that growing up. I knew that not everybody's going to be the same, but I didn't know to what extent you have children who have no food. They have homes with holes in the walls, all kinds of stuff, and it's really eye-opening to see the conditions of our fellow people, and when it comes down to it, we're all in this together. So I like to see that so that I can help them out.
Do you think that seeing those sort of conditions would be a surprise to most San Angeloans?
I think so.
Yeah. You've also served as legal counsel for the Boy Scouts, which makes sense because you're an Eagle Scout. What did you learn from scouting that you feel like is benefiting you today?
Community service was a big part of growing up in the Scouts. I still remember a lot of the events that I would help out with as a child growing up, all kinds of stuff. I was a groundskeeper at the American Kennel Club dog show at the Coliseum. You can imagine what I had to do. There's some big dogs. But it instilled in me a need for community service, for treating everyone with respect, for treating our world with respect, keeping a clean environment and work ethic. I mean, I think it had a great deal to do with my upbringing.
As a boy and as a teenager, why was it important to you to pursue and to earn that Eagle Scout badge?
Because I had come so far, and there's not a whole lot, I think, percentage-wise of Boy Scouts who complete the Eagle rank. I put a lot of work into it. And I wanted to. I had come too far to turn back and not complete it. And I knew it would be good on a resume one day.
You also volunteer for Meals for the Elderly. Why?
That's another thing. When I was younger, I remember delivering meals with my parents. And the elderly is another age group in our community that they need help. There are a lot of homebound seniors here in San Angelo. And a lot of times it is a highlight, an absolute highlight for them to chat with you as you deliver their meal. It's a great program, and I think it's important that we take care of everyone, the young, the middle-aged, and the old equally.
What do you get from that experience?
I get to meet a lot of fascinating people. I get to chat with people, and it always, I don't know, I get the warm fuzzies, I suppose, after I deliver meals and know that I'm out there making a difference.
You're also an immediate past president of the Sunrise Rotary Club. What drew you to Rotary?
Initially, it was a networking thing, and then I kind of likened it to adult Boy Scouts, really. It's a similar community service organization. Obviously, Rotary is worldwide. And just in my time here in San Angelo, we have been able to accomplish quite a bit. And I really enjoy that. We have sent shelter boxes to Haiti, to different countries. We're working on an international project now, and I guess it's just ingrained in me to always help the less fortunate whenever I'm able to, and that is a great way to do it.
Why do you think more younger people aren't drawn to Rotary in this day and age?
A lot of it may have to do with time commitment. I feel like back 30, 40 years ago, it was just a more common thing to see. People would join their community organizations, and I don't know if modern day technology has put a damper on that or what, but I also think that nowadays younger folks are, it's hard to find time to do things extra in the day. And that's kind of an added bonus of the Sunrise Club. We meet at 7 a.m., so it gets it out of the way early.
Talk about a leader who has influenced or impacted you.
I think my dad. My dad was always involved in Scouts growing up. He was an assistant Scoutmaster. And the way that he treated everyone fairly with respect and integrity, and at the same time, was well loved by everyone and still is. That really made an impact on me, and I want to be that kind of leader.
How do you define leadership?
Putting together or inspiring a group to achieve a common goal, whether it's actually leading by example, getting in there, getting a group together to complete some project or something, or just by your actions sometimes you can lead. And if somebody may see what you're doing and be inspired to do something on their own similar or to help somebody else, I think that's leadership.
You've grown up here in San Angelo. You went away to school, but you came back. Why?
I like being able to breathe in West Texas. It's not a simpler way of life, but it's just a different way of life. There's more room. The people are kind.
You mentioned that 5 of this year's 20 under 40 honorees were in the same graduating class at Central High School, your class. Was there something in the water that year or what?
I don't know. There must have been. but it's quite remarkable that that I guess maybe we're hitting our stride, and we're the next group to make a difference.
Kit, it's a big honor being one of the 20 under 40. Congratulations.
Thank you.